If you guys have been following my videos, you will have seen my costume creation for the mythical markets, and you might have seen little sneak peeks of the purple wand that I made for my friend Jen. This is the same method that I have in my other fairy wand video, but I thought it'd be fun to show you a variation of the fairy wand if you want something for a dark fairy. So yeah, I had a bit of trouble getting that sticker off, and I was not happy that it was there. I hate those stickers. You guys have seen my oil rubbed bronze spray. It's like a staple for me. So I started with that. It's a base for so many things that I do. I had those really pretty rich deep red roses, and I thought they would look good on the fairy wand. I wanted to use the really large one, but it was just a little too large, so instead I used some of the little rosebuds. I was initially thinking of using some lace and maybe, putting some spray paint on it or something, but I decided against that in the end. So I ended up going for just using the leaves that came on the stem with those roses. I really wanted to use nice deep colours with the roses, like jewel tones, because I think it goes just so well with roses. And I had still a few nice bright pink, teal blue and other colour leaves in my collection. So I added those ones in as well. I have these little fuchsia pink flower buttons as well that I thought I'll add in there, and I love this stuff. This is a preserved moss. I think I got it from Etsy actually, the preserved moss, and I have two different colours that I end up using, and I basically pack it in around those roses. They stick out so much, the roses, so I really sort of want to incorporate them a little bit more into the design, and I feel like the moss really makes them feel more a part of the fairy wand. So I'm just doing it a little bit at a time, a little bit of hot glue, and then sort of pressing things in and adding, a couple of little additional flowers here and there. And, a couple more of these little wooden flower beads as well. I liked the touch of that little dash of, bright green moss, so I added that in there as well. Now you guys have seen me use this sort of technique before, and this material, which is the tubing that has the wire embedded into it. Again, you can get this in Australia from Bunnings, from the plant section. It's a plant tie, and it was only about $10. And I got a fair bit, and I've been able to use it for quite a few craft projects. And the wire, having the wire in there makes it really easy to use it on the fairy wands. And I just put a little bit of a tacking glue of the hot glue in there. Not too much, because I don't want too much of that hot glue showing. So I tried something a little bit different on this one, and I had this really cool wool that's been sitting in my stash for a while, and I haven't really done too much with it for a while. And I thought the colours were perfect, so I started to put that on. and then I got distracted by shiny things. And here I am putting a crystal on the top of my pendant. If you guys have seen my jewelry on Etsy, I have these little crystal terrariums, and I was a bit rough with one of them and I broke the top, so I had that crystal just waiting for the right project, and I figured this was it. So I'm keeping the wool really close to the wand there and sort of wrapping it around in different ways, keeping it really close to that wire tubing. Just be really careful of your fingers here. I think I burnt my fingers quite a number of times on the hot glue. As my husband would say though, that's probably an end user issue. So I'm pretty happy with the design, how it's coming along. I also wrapped the whole length of it with this thin tubing, and I forgot to turn the camera on for that part, so you missed that. Nothing too much to see, just wrapping it randomly. And then also I wanted to wrap that thin tubing around the actual wand head itself as something different, like the vines had grown up all around that as well. And I was pretty happy with how that looked actually. I just had to use a bit of tape for that last little bit because you know, it really wanted to flick back up. Now, you guys know I like using my E6000, it's so strong, so anytime I use hot glue, I sometimes will still go back with some E6000 just to make sure that it really is strong, because I don't know, I find a lot of projects I make with hot glue are not the strongest and may start to come apart eventually, so I like to kind of beef it up. Now I'm using a Lincraft Creative Mates Pearl paint right now. It's just a purple pearlescent paint. Any purple pearlescent paint is fine. I'm not entirely covering the black, I'm just adding a thin layer, I guess, of the purple and letting a lot of that black still show. Especially on the wand handle there, I like having black as a base because then it really shows up the detail, and you can, I like to generally do a bit of a dry brushing method. I used probably a little bit more paint than I would normally for a dry brush. I really wanted it quite metallic and purple, so I was quite generous, but I still left some of that black to, you know, show those shadows and that detail. So I love this stuff. I've used this before. This is my Nuvo Glimmer Paste. It did cost about $10 or so for this just. It's not the cheapest stuff, but it's super thick and it goes on so nicely. You get a really thick layer of glitter and I like that. Now I do take that glitter all the way down the handle as well. And of course I want the back of the wand done in the glitter as well. Now I've got this really cool chunky glitter that I'm adding on top. It's an art glitter called Rosetta, and it's a Dazzler's glitter, I think is the type. It's really great because it adds a different textured glitter. And I'm using, to stick it onto the front because it the Nouveau dried a little bit, I just use a Montmartre blue glitter glue, glitter paint, and put that on, and then more of that Rosetta art glitter. Now because I'm just going glitter mad, which is just so typical for me, I pulled out some of my nail polish, and this is a Colour Stay Gel Envy, and it's in a beautiful purple colour. It's called Showtime, and it looks beautiful. And then you can see I've also got that pink one, which is a Maybelline Colour Show in pink party dress. So I just wanted, I guess, different colours and dimension when it came to the glitter, just to add that extra magic. Now, just like I did for my other wand, I'm wanting to put some ribbons on this one, and I've got these beautiful blue and purple ribbons in my stash, so I use those. I like cutting them at different lengths so that, you know, they just sort of graduate in length. And if you can see, I've got those little butterflies sitting there next to the ribbon. I got those on Etsy as well. They're just little material butterflies, and they're the cutest things ever. So I'm just putting a dab of hot glue for each ribbon, and then layering each one on top of the last. And now I'm using hot glue again just to attach those little material butterflies to the bottom. I love these things. I definitely want to go back and get some more because I would love to use some more of them like this. If you want links to those, let me know and I'll find them and post a link to that for you guys. And here's the finished wand. So you can see all of the glitter, the pink and the purple and blues are all sort of showing through. And the ribbons just hang down and have butterflies, those butterflies hanging at the bottom. I was really happy with how this turned out. I think it's such a pretty design, and Jen loved it, so that's the main thing. So I hope you guys are inspired to make your own fairy wand. You can see you can make all different colours. I've got much more videos coming for you guys with all sorts of really cool projects, so do make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. I hope you enjoyed this fairy montage of beautiful glitteriness, and we'll see you next time. Bye, craft nerds.